Hello. Today we're going to take a look at Lost Cities Rivals. This is a new 2 to 4 player game from Kosmos. It takes about 40 minutes. It's a small box, as you can see. And it's basically just a deck of cards and some coins. Cardboard chits. This is a semi-sequel to the excellent game Lost Cities by Reiner Knizia. In this game, though, instead of being 2 players, it's 2 to 4 players, and it is an auction-style game. It's kind of similar to Ra, if you've ever played that. When you are playing this game, you're going to have to kind of forget some of the things that had to do with Lost Cities, but if you've never played that game, perfect. You're kind of starting with a blank slate. In the beginning of the game, you've got 36 of these coins here. You are going to divide them equally amongst all the players. These coins are also victory points at the end of the game, so you're using them to buy cards, but you're also, you can save them for victory points at the end of the game. You divide them equally, so if there's 4 players, each player is going to get 9 coins. If there's 2 players, each player is going to get 18 coins. You also have this deck of cards that are slightly darker back. These are your wager cards, and to start, you shuffle these up and you deal each person 2 randomly, and they have to be 2 different colors. If you dealt them the same color, then you would just shuffle that up and then deal them another one. So once everybody has their 2 wager cards, then the game is set to begin. The first thing you do is you take this deck of cards. These are your expedition cards. It's a deck of 65 cards. It consists of numbers in each of the 5 suits. So there's green, white, red, yellow, and blue. I think I named 5 there. And the numbers are going from 2 to 10. With the number 2 through 5, those cards are repeated twice. There are 2 green 2s, there are 2 green 3s, 2 green 4s, 2 green 5s. But then there's only 1 green 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. These footprints right here are important. Those are your points. The cards numbered 2 through 5 only have 1 footprint on them, and the cards numbered 6 through 10 have 2 footprints on them. So you take this deck of cards, you shuffle it up, and you divide it into roughly 4 equal stacks of cards. Rules say more or less, so you don't have to be exact, but you want them to be fairly close. So we're going to divide it into 4 equal stacks. And the first player is going to take their turn. It's whoever's had their birthday first. They get the start player card, and they are going to do one of 2 actions. Your first turn, you're going to uncover a card for an expedition. The next player can choose to either uncover another card on the expedition or to start a bid on the cards that are in the tableau. Let's see, focus that a little bit. Go. So if you get a number 10, that's not great, because when you have an expedition going, you can only build from the bottom going up. You can only build in ascending numerical order. It also has to be on the same color that you've started an expedition on. So I couldn't place this red 10 on the white handshake or the yellow handshake. It would need to go into its own separate red pile. So if I had placed that red 10 there, there's nothing else that I could place there on top at the end of the game. It's still going to be worth 2 points for me at the end of the game, but essentially every single red card that's in the game is going to be useless to me from this point going forward. So this might not be a great card to get immediately to get a bid. If you did want to start a bid, though, you have to start a bid with at least 1 coin. You can bid anything higher than that if you like, and then it goes around the table until all but 1 person has passed, and then they would be the ones who would pay the bid to the center and then take the cards that are there. Now let's say there were a few more cards in the center. Alright. So there are a few more cards in the center there. And somebody wins this bid. You can choose to take all of the cards if you like, or you can choose to take just a card if you like. You can choose to take no cards if you like, but you have two things you can do. You can take as many cards that are available here, and then you may also discard one of the cards completely from the game. So let's just say I don't want this 3 for whatever reason, and I discard it from the game. And I scoop up all the rest of these, and then I add them to my tableau. These handshakes, they can only go at the beginning of your row. So as soon as you place any number card on top of a handshake, you cannot place another handshake on top of that. Handshakes are basically, consider them zeros, essentially. So handshake, handshake, and then I played my number 9 card there. These handshake cards, as I mentioned, there's no numbers on them, but they are special in that for every handshake you have, it doubles the value of however many footprints you have. So if I have one handshake and a 9, instead of 2 points, because those 2 footprints, I have 4 points. If I had 2 handshakes, it now triples the value of the footprints that I have. So now I have 6 points for just collecting that one card. Three handshakes would get me quadruple the number of points, and that is the most you can get is 3, because there are only 3. I'm sorry, actually you can get 4, because there are 15 handshakes in the deck, and there are 2 ones that get dealt out randomly. So in any case, there's that. If you ever were to get at least 4 numbered cards, and I mentioned earlier that there are multiples of the 2 through 5, you can place a number card down and then another number card as long as it's equal to or greater than whatever the previous value was. So a 2, 2, a 3, and a 10, that's totally fine. If you've placed at the end of the game at least 4 number cards, it does not matter if there was a handshake there or not. If you placed at least 4 number cards, you're going to get a bonus of 8 additional points at the end of the game. And now that doesn't result in any multipliers, so this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the handshake, which is times 2. So that's 10 points, plus since I have 4 number cards, that adds an additional 8 points. So this would be 18 points here at the end of the game. So that is that. Now, as I mentioned, when you win a bid, you pay whatever money you have into the center of the pot. You get money back. Remember how I said there are 4 decks. So if once the last card of the deck, of one of the 4 decks, is flipped up, the game is immediately paused, and then all the money that's in the center gets evenly distributed among the players. So if there were 4 players, each player would get one coin, and then there would be 1 left over for the remainder. The other thing is that if you've won an auction, you get the start player card, because whoever wins the auction starts the next thing. So you start the next card flip, or, I mean, you wouldn't want to start another auction, but yeah, you would start the next turn. So player order can get interrupted. So there are 4 decks. Once you draw the last card of each deck, you redistribute the money, except when you're on the last deck. When you're on the last deck, as soon as the last card gets flipped up, the game is over immediately. No money gets redistributed. Nobody can collect any type of any more cards. That's it, basically. The game is over at that point. At that point, you tally up how many points you have based off of the footprints that you've collected and the coins that you have left over. And then whoever has the most money is the winner. And I just want to make sure there's no tie break. Nope, no tiebreaker. And that is the game. So I think this is a super fun game, and I've enjoyed it with 2 and 4 players, so hopefully you enjoy it as well. Lost Cities Rivals by Reiner Knizia and Kosmos Games. Thanks.